My name is Julian Wren, and I recall the moment I first glimpsed the cobalt ocean from the small porthole on our flight descent as though it were yesterday. Selena's idea of a couple's vacation sounded perfect at the time. I'd been working 16-hour days leading up to the Q3 Valenti security audit, and her earnest voice had convinced me that a break with her friends would reset my perspective. I nodded when she proposed meeting Miranda and Giselle in Mauritius, trusting her judgment entirely. We landed just before sunset. The sky was painted in lavender and rose over the Indian Ocean's infinite expanse, and my mind instantly began to unclench. I imagined slipping into linen sheets, breathing ocean air, leaving spreadsheets and vulnerability, assessments behind for a week. I felt my shoulders release tension I didn't realize I held. It truly felt like paradise. As we stepped out of the shimmering terminal and into the warm, fragrant air, Celine was all smiles. Her dark hair caught the dying light, her high cheekbones glowing. She looped her arm through mine and called out to the driver carrying our luggage, requesting a quick tour of the resort's boulevard. Manicured palms swayed rhythmically, and the scent of frangipani and salt water mingled in a heady embrace. Every surface seemed polished, from the whitewashed columns framing the entrance to the mosaic tiles reflecting the amber glow of lanterns. My jaw eased. For a moment, I allowed myself the luxury of relief. A week without calculations seemed possible. All I had to do was follow Selene's lead and trust that the next sunrise would be ours to enjoy. I exhaled slowly as the car rolled toward the heart of the resort. Inside the marble-tiled lobby, we paused at the concierge desk, where a man in a crisp linen uniform held a tablet. His polite smile faltered when he saw my face. He glanced down, tapped the screen absently, and hesitated. I sensed hesitation as soon as he spoke. "I'm sorry, sir. Your room was reassigned." He looked at Selene before continuing. "Ms. Wren said her friends needed it. You'll be sleeping in the lounge suite." My pulse fluttered unsteadily. The lounge suite? On the ground floor, near the lobby, flanked by furniture and loud foot traffic all day? I took a breath, refusing to let my mind race ahead. Celine's perfect smile never wavered. She placed a gentle hand on my shoulder and said, "Julian, it's not a big deal. The girls haven't been here before." She hoped I'd nod. So, I nodded. I managed a brittle smile. I followed the concierge's outstretched hand toward a hallway lit by soft sconces. Every step echoed louder than I intended. My canvas shoes crunched on terrazzo tiles as Celine waved cheerfully at a passing bellhop who carried a gasoline-scented linen bag. Miranda and Giselle circled us like vultures, grinning at me as if I were part of a twisted spectacle. Giselle's smirk was sharp, her lips curling upward as she whispered something illicit to Miranda. I didn't hear the words, but I caught her meaning. I felt my jaw tighten under the polite weight of the situation. Behind me, Celine's hand remained warm on my back, but her eyes darted between me and our friends as though she expected me to raise a complaint. I stayed silent. A decorative vase trembled on a side table when I passed, tiny fractures in my composure matching its slight wobble. The lounge suite was a cavernous space, with plush rugs, oversized pillows strewn across columns, and floor-to-ceiling windows facing a manicured courtyard. I set my carry-on beside a chaise and surveyed the mismatched decor: a gilded coffee table, velvet ottomans, and a lone floor lamp devoid of a shade. In the corner, a half-eaten charcuterie. Plate sat abandoned on a low table, its cheese congealing in the humid air. I lowered myself onto a pillow with the grace of someone deflating, feeling the synthetic fibers yield beneath me. Instead of a bed, I stared at the blank ceiling, uncertain where to place my head. My throat tightened when I noticed the guests' discarded sunscreen tubes and half-empty cocktail glasses under piles of cushions. This was supposed to be my sanctuary. Instead, it felt like a cheeky apology hidden in plain sight. I clenched my jaw. I thought back to the day I co-founded Valente with two friends straight out of Stanford. Late nights in a cramped garage, the allure of building something meaningful, and my promise to Celine that success wouldn't change me. I'd remain grounded, humble, always present. I'd kept that promise, rarely wore my watch, drove an unassuming sedan, and let Celine curate our social calendar. I nurtured our partnership, believing that transparency and mutual respect would carry us through anything. Yet here I was, banished to a floor lounge, silent evidence that my vow meant nothing if I wasn't reminded to speak up. A dull ache settled in my chest. I resisted bitterness. I reminded myself that patience and strategy often outweighed impulsive confrontation. After all, I hadn't built Valente on rash decisions. Instead, I had learned that the calmest response could yield the sharpest results. So I exhaled, shoved my pride down, and stood. Celine shook her head when she saw me emerge, carrying a towel and water bottle, as if I'd staged some silent protest. "You look fine," she said, her voice light but uncertain. I offered a polite smile and said, "I'll catch up with the girls by the pool. Go on ahead." She hesitated, flicking her gaze between my face and the corridor. When she walked away, I felt a surge of determination. I'd let this slide tonight. I'd let her guests believe they were superior. But I vowed to reclaim my dignity slowly, deliberately, on my own terms. I squared my shoulders and made my way toward the sliding glass doors leading outside. The tropical breeze promised a balm. I wasn't sure I deserved yet. I didn't argue. I just nodded and packed. That night, I lay on the cold tiles of the lounge suite, a scratchy pillow beneath my head, and the constant whir of a ceiling fan that sounded like it was one blade short of falling apart. The sound was a rhythmic, unsettling whine that seeped into my bones and made sleep an elusive promise. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that look on Celine's face, the one that said, "It's not a big deal, Julian," as if she hadn't just bartered away my dignity to make her friends comfortable. I'd never felt smaller than I did on that floor, listening to the echoes of laughter that filtered through the hallway like a mocking wind. Miranda's cackle was the first thing I heard, followed by Giselle's high-pitched giggle that reminded me of a hyena. I imagined them on the private balcony of the suite that should have been mine, toasting drinks and congratulating themselves on this incredible experience Celine had arranged for them, not for me. Every cocktail they posted on